to a brand new episode of the Vintage Kids. Salut tout le monde et bienvenue à un nouvel épisode de Vintage Kids. Oui, nous sommes à la deuxième partie de notre émission là sur Indiana Jones. Oui. Alors, cette semaine, nous allons essayer de faire ça un petit peu mieux comme on a fait la semaine dernière. La semaine dernière, c'était très long. Hein? On n'a pas eu le temps de faire ce qu'on voulait. Là, j'ai toutes mes petites notes. Là. Regardez-moi ça comme c'est beau. Hein? Ben oui, des numéros gagnants de la 49. So this week, we're going to try to do this the right way. It's not because it was the wrong way, but it's because it took me a little longer last week. So since we have two movies to go through, we're going to go through one pretty quickly. Number 4, it's like number 8 of another kind of trilogy, you know. And we're going to talk about 5. The Dial of Destiny. Hello. Donc, cette semaine, on va parler des deux films, le 4 et le 5. Donc, on parle de Kristen Lee. de Crystal Skull. Pas pareil. Non, c'est pas pareil. Hein? Les deux viennent quand même d'une dimension différente. Hein? Ben oui. Mais c'est pas la même chose. Crystal Skull. And also the last one that just came out, The Dial of Destiny. This week's episode is brought to you by Ocean Spray. Tastes like spray. Yep. Tu montres ta balle à tout le monde. Elle est tombée. Ta balle est tombée. Oui. Bon. Yes, so this week we're going to go through they're not episodes. They are movies. So, movie number 4 and movie number 5. Let me see if everything is okay. Right there. Okay. So last week we've talked about 1, 2, and 3. Let's start right away. Right on the subject of number 4. The Crystal Skull. The movie The Crystal Skull, il se passe en 1957. It happens in 1957. And we are post-war. So they're trying, well, it's funny because it fits with the new movie that came out, the Oppenheimer movie with the test with the nuclear bomb. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. I just want to talk about the fact that why that movie is considered for so many as the worst one. Hey, calme. I have to check the dog. Faut que je regarde le chien parce qu'il décide de manger n'importe quoi. Il trouve quelque chose à la tête, il dit moi je vais goûter à ça, moi ouais. Ben oui, hein, pourquoi pas. Okay, so I got some notes on number 4. So it happens in 1957 and we start at Area 51. The cool thing about the fact that we're starting in that area, it foreshadowing where we're heading. And the cool thing is also there's a little winky wink about that place at the end in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So the Ark of the Covenant ends up over there, Indiana LeBlanc. Greg Marshall. Good to have you aboard, my friend. I don't expect to have a lot of people today because since we're going to talk about the 5th one, I totally understand that they don't want any spoilers. So again, I'm not doing this for the numbers. I'm doing this for fun, you know, because fun is Ocean Spray, brought to you by Ocean Spray. No, I'm kidding. Please, Ocean Spray, send me money. I love your product. Okay. So, c'est allégé canneberge in French. Allégé canneberge. In English, it's lit. Lit canneberge. You know, lit. I haven't seen the new one, love. Should I go now? Well, no, you don't have to go now. Because I'm going to talk about... I may have to skip tonight. No problem, ma'am. I totally understand. I totally understand. Um, I'm going to talk about number 4 first. So you could actually take out your Kleenex, and not for that reason, because it's so sad. So we're going to talk about episode 8 of the Indiana Jones saga. It's not really episode 8, but you know. Okay. So, like I said, there's a little clin d'oeil, a little wink on the fact that the movie starts at Area 51 because this is where they put the Ark of Covenant at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark in 81. And the cool thing is that you actually see the Ark of Covenant been busted out of his la 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 la. In French, it's the same thing as English. La 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 la. You know, ooh la la. Uh, yeah, and again, I'm gonna talk about spoilers about the movie, but you know. Anyway, I'll let you know when I'll start. Yeah, it was a tough watch, and I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna do my best to explain why. Je vais essayer de vous expliquer pourquoi c'était un tough watch, le quatrième. The movie in general was not necessarily a bad idea. It was not a bad project. It was not like, let's squeeze the lemon to get more money. Well, it was, because it's always about money. But there's so many issues with that movie, and I'm going to talk about it right away. So, okay, I'm not going to tell you the whole story because we're going to be here till tomorrow. First of all, we're talking about casting, and we're talking about chemistry. And you know, if you've been watching this podcast or this Vintage Kids thing, I'm always saying the same thing. When you're making a movie, when you're making a TV series, it's important to not lose your audience. And I explained that before. Is like, when you're watching, you have to believe it, and you like, okay, I that's all possible, or it's not possible, but I understand that it's in a galaxy far, far away, or whatever. Or when casting is not really well done, it also like takes you right away. And the Star Wars example I can use about this one is I'm good. Oh, you were asking to Jim. Jim, are you good? Okay, so the casting is really important, and the chemistry between the actors is really important. I hope the sound's okay. I just realized that the microphone's like way behind this. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, so here are my issues with that movie. Let's hit it, because it's not necessarily a very long list, but there you go. Casting, huge problem for me with the casting of this character. Iraina Spalko. You say, what? Iraina Spalko. What's that? Not Russian, the Nazi girl played by Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett can play all kinds of things, but we know her so well. And as a Nazi, didn't work for me. Not even close. For me, it's not her fault. I'm not saying that she was a bad actress. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that her playing that didn't work. Not a bit. Not for me. Not at all. Another example I can give you that I talked about earlier is Jack Black in The Mandalorian. It's Jack Black. it's not the guy that you're trying to make me believe that it's Jack Black. And that was, she was the Nazi or Russian. I just don't. Is it Spalko? Her name was Irina Spalko. Probably from Louisiana. I don't know, man. Anyway, so this great actress played in this movie, and it's an important role. She's there all the way through the end. So for me, it was like, nah, why? Anyway, that's for me. That's one of the Another one. They tried to fill that movie with great casting. I thought she was a Russian. Yeah, probably she must be Russian. The Russians are working with the Nazi. No, the Nazi are gone in this one. It's after the war, so you're totally right. She's Russian. She's Russian. Ocean Spray Vodka. Can you feel the communism? Okay. Either way, it wasn't good. You're right, man. That's exactly it. Another thing they tried to do, like I said, is to cast a lot of great actors in that movie. And they did amazing casting on one guy, John Hurt. John Hurt was one of the greatest actors of our times. Sadly, he's gone. He's playing Errol Oxley in that movie, like the dad figure of the Transformer kid. I'm gonna talk about him a little later. So Huxley was a great casting. He did an amazing job, but he ended up being in a movie that was way not well done. So everything surrounding John Hurt and his character, it put him like, oh yeah, he played in that movie. Oh yeah, and he's just amazing. Anyway, and of course we have to talk about. I'm not mad about. I'm not saying the actor is bad. I'm not saying the actor is a. I'm not talking about the personal guy. I'm talking about the fact that they cast Shia LaBeouf. You know Shia LaBeouf. LaBeouf. It's a French word. LaBeouf means the fucking cow, man. Anyway, so Shia LaBeouf in that movie, for me, not a good casting. Why? Because back in the days, let's not talk about him. No, we have to. But very quickly, and you guys will understand what I mean about all this. It feels like they took him because he was the flavor of the month. He just played in all the Transformers things, and I don't know what else he did. But let's put this kid in, and perhaps we can give him the hat at the end of the movie, and he might be the... Oh, man, please. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. It's just the fact, again, taking someone and putting him in the wrong spot. That's how it felt. I love the idea of, he's Indy's son from Marion's old relationship. I agree with that story, no problem. Okay. So, other things that... Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say about John Hurt. One of the best actors of our time. He played in Alien, the first one with the chest burster. That's him. He played in Elephant Man and so many great movies. He was an amazing actor. I gotta be what I say. Yeah. You're totally right, man. You're just right. And like I said, it felt like we're gonna put him there because he's the flavor of the month. That's my personal opinion. I stand by it. Thank you, Ocean Spray. Ocean Spray, please send me more of these. I'm gonna put them right through my veins. Okay. Up next, I wanted to say that the the worst part of that movie is not the aliens, believe it or not. Because I could actually understand, like, okay, we're heading there. We've already seen Area 51. This is Steven Spielberg. This is George Lucas. We all know that they both love alien stuff. That's okay. Uh, and it's always the part of Indiana Jones movies that, like, we're going a little bit more into the craziness magic thing. And it was like, okay, we're heading there. That's okay. And it's based on a real thing. The crystal skull actually exists, not the one that we see in the movie, but there's crystal skulls, and I'm not going to talk about this, but anyway, you know what I mean. So the worst part is actually the bad CG. I've talked about this in the Star Wars TV shows, but when you've got bad CG, you're gonna lose your audience. And let's talk about the Flash. I haven't seen it, but people are saying like the CG is like worse than. I think that the first episodes of Bugs Bunny were better made than the new Flash movie. But I didn't see it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Ooh. Okay. So the bad CG, and of course the stupid, useless situations that the characters are been put in. Come on, the monkey swinging Transformer kid. Why? Why? And honestly, why? It's useless, and it's very poorly made. So it's like, come on, man. As soon as I saw, first of all, when I saw the CGs, I was like, are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? Really? Really? And then you're seeing this guy swinging from one rope to another. Just a minute. Hey, Moo, biscuits mange. Yacy. Yacy. I'm gonna give my dog something to eat because she's eating something and I don't know what it is. So go eat that thing instead. Tastes like rubber. Can you feel the chicken? Oh yeah, can you feel that chicken? Ooh yes. It's not chicken. I don't know what it is. Taste. Better take this. I don't know why I'm doing this. Ocean spray. Watch out, because after I'm drinking this. Okay. So, stupid, useless situations, and so poorly made CG. The hands eating the guy. Come on, man. It looks so bad. And deepfake from YouTube are better than anything Disney put out on CG. Well, they did some great stuff with the last season of Mandalorian. But again, and they did great stuff also with Andor. But again, we have to be careful because it's not always Disney's fault. And I've listened something about this, and I don't want to go into this too long, but nowadays, and maybe I'm repeating myself, and I'm sorry if I've already talked about this before, but there's so many movies that has to come out, and so many TV shows that needs CGI, that the companies are. There's so many more companies than before that actually offer the services to do CGI, that people are sending like, okay, how much are you charging me for that job? I'm charging you whatever. So they are going with the cheapest one because it's not all ILM that does all the work. For example, I've met a guy that actually does he won a Golden Globe. I've met him several months ago. He lives very not far from here. And it's his company that actually does most of the flying things in all the Star Wars movies and TV series. And he won for the Mandalorian for the effects. But he works for Disney. He works for ILM. But it's from here with his own company. So you see where I'm heading now. So that's the reason why we cannot put the blame only on Disney. Of course, they're going with, and I'm not saying that the guy over here is doing a bad job. That's not what I'm saying. In all the industry nowadays, it's different than it was when there was only one ILM that did amazing job back in the days. Okay, so that's the reason why I didn't like that movie at all. And of course, again, at the end, the CG is terrible. When the aliens look like cartoons. They don't look real. Outsourced, yes. It's all source these days. Yes, you're totally right. So anyway, so that's the reason why that movie actually felt bad. And I'm not going through the old fridge thing where the lead refrigerator thing and the explosion. It's Indiana Jones. So, but anyway, there's so many things that they did wrong in that movies that the thing that they did right was empty. Well, it was full of bad stuff over them, so we weren't able to see it very well. Anyway, okay, Indy 5. So, I'm gonna try to do a first a non-spoiler part. Are you talking of Indy 4 or 5 for the bad CG or a bad situation? I'm still in Indy 4, but now I'm heading into Indy 5. And just a second, I'm gonna see what my dog is eating. Hey, qu'est-ce que tu fais, mon bébé? Tu fais pas de niaiserie, hein? Viens te coucher ici, là. Amène ta balle, puis viens ici avec ta balle. Okay, sorry about that. Ah, ben non, là, tu peux pas jouer avec mon ballon, par exemple. Look what she found. She actually found it's Wilson. Don't touche pas, Wilson. No, touche pas. Touche pas. Okay, sorry about that. Dis bonjour au monde, là. Hello! Okay. So, I'll watch the rest after I watch Indy 5. No problem, man. I'm going to try to give you some information without the spoiling thing. I'll do my best for now. And at the end, I'll spoil everything. So, there's a lot. Don't let the dog chew or play with your merchandise. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of stuff around me that I don't want her to chew on. Trust me. There's like things like that on the floor. So don't chew this, please. Anyway, I have to take care of my space, my working space area. Yeah. Anyway. Qu'est-ce que tu fais là? I have no clue what she's doing, man. And I'm only hearing like weird sounds like chewing and digging sounds. C'est quoi tu fais là? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's her chew whatever she wants and I'll charge her. I'll send her an invoice for that, whatever she's chewing on. She's trying to get her ball. Sont Audrey, Kim et Phil. Ben, moi, je suis ici. Mais ils sont dans la maison, puis... T'as un petit peu, là. Ils sont dans la maison, mais... Non, Kim est pas là, elle est chez sa mère. Mais, non, mais Didi est occupé, là. Puis... c'est mon chien, là. Faut que je m'occupe de mon chien. C'est comme mon enfant. Décidé de l'avoir, faut que je m'en occupe. OK. Donc, let's talk about why they did another movie. People are saying, okay, they really want to squeeze the lemon. they tried to find a good script, and it's actually Harrison Ford that were always saying, "Nope, I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm not doing it," because he wanted some things really, really, really important in what he wanted to do. And that is what he explains in a lot of hey, no, no, she's trying to go outside. He explains this in a lot of interviews. So what he wanted to do is to bring an old indie, a weak indie, a frail Indiana Jones. Oh, I'm losing my. Am I losing my connection? Anyway, still here. Yeah, lagging. I don't know what happened. Let's hope that everything. Let me repeat this again. So Harrison Ford wanted to do something realistic about Indiana Jones, not necessarily about the storyline, but it has. He wanted that Indy was 70 and that he looked 70 and that he was weak, he was getting old, he was frail, and like I said, he wanted something that was actually like how he felt in his life nowadays. So trying to have a more human, real human guy without like all the not necessarily super strength, but what we are used to see with Indy, with so many jumping around and hanging on from something and jumping and fighting. Yeah, I'm invincible because I'm wearing a hat, you know. So that's what he wanted to do the best he could, and that's what they did, and that's how it feels all the way through the movie. And I think that is something that people were probably disappointed in watching that movie, because they were expecting to see Indiana Jones flying around and jumping. And I mean, most of the stuff where Indy actually jumps from dangerous place, we see it in the trailer. And for the rest of the time, it's like old Indiana Jones in the afternoon nap. I just love that thing. Okay. And it's funny because one of the famous line in not episode, but in Indy 3 is, "It belongs in the museum." Oh, yeah, you're right. Hey. And she's gone with, thank you. She's just took Wilson. Hey, no. 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 Wilson! Yeah, she didn't destroy it, but almost. She started to destroy Wilson. The magic of live TV with a dog. Lâche le chien, lâche le Wilson, là. Prends-toi un autre os, là. Va m'enchouiller quelque chose d'autre, là. Moi, j'ai un show à faire, là. Tu sais? Tiens. Prends ça, là, puis va jouer dans la ruelle, là. Tu sais, avec tes amis, là, quelque chose. Va fumer du pot en dessous du balcon, là, comme dans les années 70. OK. So, in the third movie, it's like, "It belongs in the museum," and he uses this phrase a lot of time in the movie, and what he's actually saying to us is that he belongs in a museum. It's like, I don't belong doing another movie. I belong in a museum, and it feels like that too. So you don't have that Indiana Jones with so many. Yeah, you have a few things, but I mean, he's not a superhero. Almost. Ça serait pire avec un chat. Man, j'en ai deux. J'ai deux chats en plus. Fait que, crée-moi, là, c'est... OK. Les chats, ils vomissent partout. C'est surtout ça l'affaire. Ils vomissent partout. Ils chient à côté de la litière, mais bon. So, he belongs in the museum. So, let's talk about other things. In that movie, ça se passe en 1969. The whole movie is in 1969. We have Matt Mikkelsen that actually plays the bad guy. Jurgen. I'm so good with names. Voleur. And voleur in French is actually a thief. So, voleur, I don't care, but it sounds like a thief. Let me see. My mother-in-law watched the new one and she said she didn't like seeing him old. Yeah! Kim est là, plus. Greg, you're right. And see, that's what I was saying. People don't like the movie because they expect to have a superhero, and he's not. He's an old man. He's actually retiring from the school where he's working in New York. So people expect to have a adventure, craziness, Temple of Doom. It's not. There's a lot of situation. There's a storm right now with thunder. So if that's probably why the internet freaked out earlier. If I shut down, is because electricity will be gone. Anyway, just saying, might not happen. So he's an old man. So Matt Mikkelsen, great actor, plays Jurgen Voller. He's doing a great job. Good casting for a villain. Totally agree on this guy. Way better than a lot of others in the last one. Of course, we've got Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Great actress. I'm not. I haven't seen what she did in the her series. She plays Elena Shaw, which is the daughter of Basil Shaw, which is Toby Jones plays the actor. That's the actor that plays her dad, and it's a long time friend of Indiana Jones. And what we actually learn, well, okay, I got so many things to say and so not enough time. Okay, so the movie starts with a flashback, and that's cool because that's the part where you can actually see Indiana Jones as we used to see him, as we used to know him. And that flashback takes place in 1944, and they're trying to get the spear of I don't even can't read my notes. Anyway, they're trying to get that spear where that the Romans used to kill Jesus when he's on the cross. And it comes from the early scripts that they did for Raiders of the Lost Ark that Kasdan actually wrote. And they finally used that thing in the movie, but they also did it in the comic, the Dark Horse comic, Spear of Destiny. And of course, the great CG that they did, the big step forward that we actually see. Yeah, Spear of Destiny, you're totally right. It's the de-aging process. They're using, I'm not going to explain it, but they're doing an amazing job. And I mean, if they are able to do movies like that, they can use dead people. We're going to have movies with old characters that have been gone for 20 years because it looks amazing. It looks really, really good. And that's the part when you actually see Indy flying and doing all these incredible stunts. Okay. So, the good thing, they use the MacGuffin and the Constantine movie with... Oh, I have no idea, man. I have no clue what you're talking about. Sorry, man. Michel, je sais pas c'est quoi tu parles de MacGuffin. Je sais c'est quoi le Constantine movie, je l'ai vu, mais je me rappelle plus, man. Ça fait trop longtemps. Donc, j'essaie de... Il y a tellement d'affaires à dire, je veux vraiment essayer de rien oublier. OK. Je regarde mes notes, j'essaie de rien oublier. I'm looking at my things. And okay, so let's talk about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. That plays Elena Shaw. She actually is, from where I know that girl, is actually from Han Solo, a solo Star Wars movie. She actually plays L337, which is the robot that Lando actually has sex with. Right away, you know that something's wrong with Star Wars. But the cool thing and the great idea that they had is that they put that brain of hers, of that robot, into the Falcon. So she actually becomes the Falcon AI. So that's a cool thing. Of course, in that movie, there's also Antonio Banderas that actually plays a scuba dude that's called Ronaldo. And I'm not going to tell you what happened with him. You'll see what happened. And back to Basil Shaw, which is the friend of Indiana Jones that plays in that flashback. There's actually 2 flashbacks in the movie. And the first one is where the action goes on. But you actually learn that, like in the last movie, you've got someone that is so much involved, so much into something that they actually go nuts. So you have to wonder, do you want to become an archaeologist and go nuts? Because Oxley actually goes nuts because he's obsessed and he's looking through that skull thing. And now that we know that Basil Shaw actually loses his mind over this also. So anyway, that's the thing I want to say about this. The aging. Okay. The famous Dial of Destiny, and as like in every movies of Indiana Jones, it's based on something that actually exists. And that thing that actually exists is the dial of destiny. The dial of destiny is actually an etiquera. Etiquera is real. It's something that was found near Greece, and it's the oldest thing, mechanical thing that was found for now on Earth, and it's presumed to be something to use. They were using to follow the planets. That's supposed to be the real story of all this. But now they are using this idea to make it the Dial of Destiny. The movie is actually a closed loop. What I mean is, it's a bit... because it's time travel. I mean, we've been with the religious stuff, we've been with the aliens, now we're with time travel. So the reason why I'm saying this is that whatever happens in the movie, you realize that it already happened. So it's like a closed loop. Doing my best to not spoil everything for everyone. But anyway, of course, in the first flashback, we can actually hear a Willem scream, like in every other Indiana Jones and in every other Star Wars movies. It's like a trademark. We were talking about the fact that Indy is actually not a superhero, but in that flashback, he actually catches a bullet. So, I mean, okay, so if this is not superhero kind of stuff, I don't know what is, but he actually catches a bullet with his hand, but that bullet actually ricochets. Ricochet, which is a great hockey player, one of my girlfriend's favorite hockey player, Ricochet. The bullet actually ricochet, and Indy catches it. So I mean, yeah, not far from the aliens. Okay, but again, that's in the flashback, so he's like still have like these superhero powers. There's a lot of Easter eggs when we meet Indiana Jones in his apartment. There's tons of stuff. There's pictures of his son that we actually learned that he died. That's a great way to get rid of a encombrement. The best one on the ice. Yes, yeah, he's the best one on the ice. I just can't wait for Montreal to sign this guy. Audrey, t'as bien raison. Rick O'Shea. And he's in these Easter eggs. There's tons of pictures. There's tons of stuff that we can actually recognize from the previous movies. And yes, Indy actually uses a lead fridge. So here's a little wink to the stupid explosion fridge sequence in the last movie. Anyway, so right away, it already you actually learned that he's getting a divorce from Marion, his wife. I mean, his life is upside down, and he's about to retire. It's his last day at work. So he wakes up. He's like all fucked up, and the neighbors are actually listening to loud music, and like an old man, starts to yell at the neighbors, lower your fucking music. And the cool thing is that the music that actually plays is the Beatles, and it's not any kind of music. It's actually the Magical Mystery Tour from the Beatles, and it's foreshadowing what's going to happen in that movie, because he's heading to his own Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah. So, like I said, Harrison Ford wanted to show where Indiana Jones was at 70. So he's heading to his retirement party. So it really feels like, okay, this guy is hurt. This guy is old. This guy is, he's not gonna start doing some crazy shit anymore. Okay. So again, I'm not gonna tell the whole story. I'm just gonna point out some stuff. So that's when the what's her name? Elena Shaw actually shows up, and you learn that she's kind of family, and she actually double-crossed Indy. And did they kill Mutt too? Yes, yes, and that's a part of the movie that I think is interesting, and not only because they're trying to fix their mistakes like they're doing in Star Wars, but there's a good reason for this, and I'm going to talk about it a little later on. Yes, they killed him. Okay. So we meet with Saga. No, I was talking about the fact that Ellen Shaw shows up and she double-crosses him. She's trying to get an item that Indy actually have hidden in his whatever, and all hell breaks loose. I'm not gonna talk about what actually happens, but he end up in a new adventure without him actually wanted to go to that into that adventure. Worst useless character ever. Ouais, mais encore là, comme j'ai expliqué au début, s'il avait été casté autrement, si le CG avait été meilleur, l'idée était bonne, mais encore là, c'était à l'époque où c'est que faut donner l'espace à la nouvelle génération. Ok. One Screen Magical Tour, Salah. Okay, so we meet up with Salah, and crazy thing, Salah is actually still having kids that are 11 and 12 years old. So you're like, okay, this guy is like 80 and still having kids. Way to go, man. Okay. They actually end up. I'm not gonna. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you the whole story. I'm here to talk about the movie. What's good, what's not good, what I think was well made, or whatever. The cool thing is, and we all saw it. It's not a spoiler. Oh yeah, trust me. They don't have any excuses, but there's so many bad stories. Like when you're starting to make a movie and you don't have any script, like Star Wars. Ooh. Okay. So he ends up in an auction, and we all saw that shot when Indy actually uses his whip. And it's actually a clin d'oeil. It's actually a wink to the first time we actually see Indy uses his gun on the guy with that famous sword. Like, and Indy's like, oh, come on. Takes out his gun and shoot him. So the roles are inversés right away. It's like now he is actually the guy with the sword, but using a whip, and he's getting like, you'll be shot, man, because everyone's having a gun nowadays in 1969. Okay. So he ends up running away, and I'm always talking about useless. Maybe it's not useless, but for me, it felt useless. They're actually running after the dial, a piece of the dial of destiny, and for some reason, they actually have to put in there a story of the ex of Elena Shaw that runs after them and trying to kill them. So, I came up with the better stuff. They actually wrote 5 or 6, most likely 5 though. Ah, tu vois ça, par exemple, je suis pas au courant, man. I have no idea about that. I didn't know. So I'm wondering, why do we have to have this plot of the ex of Elena trying to kill her and running away, and because she lied to him and stuff? It's like useless. Okay. Okay, so we actually learned that they're trying to find all the pieces of that dial, and they're not sure of what they want to do with it, but they know that the Nazis, the former Nazis, are trying to get a hand on this. And there's actually something that they have to find to know where to locate the second part of that thing, and it's called the graphicos. And all the idea behind the graphicos, I thought it was a great idea to put it in wax. Just gonna say this, I thought it was an amazing. That felt like Indiana Jones. Like, you have to think it's not what it seems to be. It's like there's something more, you know. So I thought that was well prepared. We're talking about Muth, Indiana Jones' sons, and what we. I'm losing my. I hope I'm getting thinner. No, I'm not. We're talking about the fact that Indiana Jones' son is gone. And we actually learn why. We learned it's because he went to the Vietnam War and he actually died there. So, love the idea. Great idea. For the timing, for the timeline, everything is good. And you actually learn that that's why Marion and Indy are actually getting separated, divorced, because it's too heavy on them losing their son. And sad part is Indy didn't want him to go to the war. He actually explains that he did it to prove a point to his dad, and uh, that's why he died. So it was like a bad mistake, and Indy actually feels bad about all this. So Elena ask him, what would you do if you could go back in time? And he says, I would go back to my son and tell him not to enroll into the war. So he could live. He would probably be alive, and my life would not crumble in front of my eyes, and my wife wouldn't feel so bad and so sad and stuff. So I thought it was an amazing idea. For me, that's good writing. That's good stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. At the beginning of the movie, he's actually giving his last lesson in the school, and you can actually see that people are not on their iPads or iPhones or whatever, but they're not really listening. They're not all in love with him like in the first movie. All the students are like, "Oh man, I want to go home." So he actually teaches something in the class that is foreshadowing the movie. And in a lot of these Indiana Jones movie, there's a lot of foreshadowing. But in this one, I thought it was a bit too much. There's actually like 3 times that they're actually foreshadowing what's going to happen in the movie. So I totally understand that people that are not necessarily trying to analyze everything while they watch a movie, well, that's probably 98% of the population, but I fit in that 2% that always analyze stuff way too much. For me, it was clear. Okay, we're heading there. Okay, we're heading there. Okay, we're heading there. So I thought that the fact that Indy actually talks about the fact that if he would be able to go in time, back in time, he would try to save his son. I thought that was foreshadowing something. You know, spoilers. Okay, so let's move on. There's actually like a puppet show when they end up somewhere in the movie with it's the attack on Syracuse, and there's like dragon flying. Again, it's foreshadowing stuff. You know, it's like dragons. Yeah, you know. And at one point, when Indy's actually climbing and trying to do his best, he actually act like an old man. And what do you mean by that? And it's funny because right away I thought about a scene with Sean Connery, but not in Indiana Jones. So let me explain. So at one point, Indy actually talks about the old days, like an old man, like the glorious days, and when he's all the injuries he went through and all the pain and all the stuff that he went through. He was shot 9 times. He drank the blood of forgot the name, in the Temple of Doom, and so on. And it's funny because right away there's something in my head that popped up. It's the sequence in The Rock. Welcome to The Rock with Sean Connery, and Sean Connery actually says he is the old man in that movie, and he's supposed to be James Bond, but that's another story. I can talk about this another time. Sean Connery actually says in that movie, losers always whines about their best. And right away I thought about that sentence, and he continues saying, "Winners bring home the prom queen and fuck the prom queens." Anyway, that's preferred to just the beginning. This is like losers always whine about their best. Stop whining, just act, you know. So I thought it was good to see again an old Indiana Jones whining, like, oh, I went through this and I did that, and oh, you don't know what I went through. Um, in that same sequence, he actually goes through a lot of stuff that looks like in Temple of Doom. So they went back and used some powerful sequences that work in the second movie, and they put it in that one. It's like, oh, it's like in Temple of Doom. Oh, it's this kind of same thing as the Temple of Doom. What he wants to kill Hitler. Okay, so another great. Okay, now we're in spoilers territory, by the way. Just perhaps you already know, but we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm sorry. I've got notes, but I totally understand that it's not easy to follow. Follow me to all the stuff that I got so many stuff in my head, and some days I have difficulty talking and letting my speech out the right way. And I only did it in English because there's so many stuff to say. I cannot afford saying it in French and then okay. So what we actually learn is that Vola, le voleur, ben oui, he wants to go back in time. So people, so Indian, everyone were thinking like he wants to kill like the presidents of the United States. He wants to do an attack or something. But we learned that he actually wants to kill Hitler. And why? It's not because Hitler was so bad, but he wants someone to take his place that would not do the same mistakes that Hitler did that made him lose the war. So that, again, is great writing. And it's something that surprised everyone. Oh, okay, he doesn't want to kill a U.S. president. He doesn't want to do something to change necessarily the outcome exactly of the war. He just wants to replace someone and use the knowledge of the mistakes that happened to make sure that this time it's going to work. But of course, and I'm not explaining everything, but he ends up traveling in time, and they don't end up at the place that he was supposed to be because of something that they did not calculate right. But they end up in, let me see the date. Where are you, date? Okay. They end up in 2013 BC. It's like Hitler was not born, man. Not even close. So they end up over there. So they travel way back in time. And like I said, it's a closed loop. I'm not going to go into the details. You're going to have to watch the movie. But anyway, they end up traveling back in those days. And the cool thing is that the planes, they're heading there. They end up there in a plane. And the people from 2000 BC actually sees those planes flying around and like, what the fuck are these? They're dragons, man. They're dragons flying. So that's the foreshadowing of the dragons that I've talked about earlier. So they're at the siege of Syracuse. Go check it out. So big spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, leave right now. I was pretty sure that Indiana Jones would actually die in that movie. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Harrison Ford's always wanted Han Solo to die in Star Wars. He got his wish, but in episode 7. And I was expecting Indiana Jones to die in that movie. But there was something interesting. It's like I thought they were doing something to get rid of him without killing him, really. Once he's there back in time, he actually says, I want to stay here. I don't want to go back. I want to stay and live in 2000 BC. I was like, that's a great idea. He's going to die back in time. It's like, great. But, of course, as Doc would say, not a good idea because you're going to change the course of time. But you can actually learn that it's a closed loop. So everything would probably not fucked up. Anyway, so he goes back. He goes back at the right time in where he's supposed to be. Okay, and when he gets back in 1969, I was talking about the foreshadowing of Indy talking about the death of his kid. And I was expecting to see his kid alive again. So what I'm saying is I thought that with the time travel thing, someone would have fixed this for Indiana Jones. So at the end, I was expecting to see his son show up. Shia LaBeouf opening the door. Hey, Dad, what's up, man? And Indy was like, oh, he's alive, But that's not the case. So was I disappointed? No. But I was pretty sure that was going to happen at the end. Okay. I'm probably forgetting tons of shit, but anyway, I've been trying to do my best to talk to you guys for the last hour. So anyway, I'm not going to give you all the details, but the last shot of the movie, it's actually the hat that is on la corde à linge, drying outside, and you actually see Indy grabbing the hat for the last time. So I love the fact that it means a lot. It was great, don't worry. Merci Kim. J'ai de la misère là aujourd'hui là, ça arrive. Ma fille est gentille là. Merci là, oubliez pas hein. Ocean spray. Ouais. Okay. So, the final shot, I love that final shot. I mean, it's a great way to say goodbye to Indiana Jones. He's not dead. We know he's going to die, but at least we know that the last years of his life, he's going to be okay. And I love the fact that someone actually says on the internet, the reason why he actually grabs his hat, because he's going to have sex with Marion. With Marion. It's like, this guy is not having sex without his helmet, without his hat. It's like, I'm going to put my hat on. Just a minute. Yeah, but you're naked. Yeah, but I need my hat. I love that thing. And also is Indiana Jones will kind of never die. He's like, he's the hat. The hat is Indy. And, I mean, it's like a lightsaber or this hat will represent Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones for eternity. So I thought it was a great idea to finish the saga with the hat, because the hat and the whip, but the hat is the thing. So yeah, we're done. Next week, we're not going to talk about Indiana Jones, I promise. Maybe a little. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if I tried to do my best. Like, there's tons of spoilers in what I've said, but there's still surprises that I have not talked about. So, overall, I thought the movie was great. I thought the movie was way better than The Crystal Skull. I thought the idea was great. Even if it's time travel, I believed it. It's like, okay, I believe this. I'm in it. I believe this shit. And the CG, the effects are way better, way better than the last movie. So there's not a lot of time that I actually said like, that doesn't look real, man. It all looks real. It all looks very good. So yeah, go ahead, go check it out. It's a great movie. I saw it in the theaters, and I think it is worth watching in theaters. The scale of that movie is great. The visual effects are good. So yeah, I was not disappointed to see it in the movies. I don't go to the movies anymore a lot, and probably most of you guys. But this one, yeah, was worth the money. So that's it for this week. We're done. So thank you very much for joining me again. As I always say, have a great week. Have fun. Be safe. Be good. Be wild. Be you. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, write me something. I'll be happy to answer the best I can, the best way I can. And we'll see each other next week for episode 56. Allez, passez une bonne semaine tout le monde. Faites attention à vous autres et embrassez vos femmes pour moi. Bonne soirée tout le monde. On se reparle la semaine prochaine. N'oubliez pas de checker la vente que je vais mettre jeudi. Là. Yard sale. OK, bye.